Welcome, everyone, to episode 34 of the Fast and Fabulous podcast. I have with me Jalene Weigand. Did I say that correctly, Jalene?
It's Jalene.
Jalene, I'm so sorry, Jalene.
No, it's okay.
I usually ask that before we start speaking.
No, it's totally fine.
Okay, Jalene.
No worries.
Jalene, it is so wonderful to have you, and thank you so much for coming on. It really means a lot to have you come on and share your intermittent fasting story. You have been such an inspiration in our community, and thank you for that. And thank you for coming on today, because it really does take a lot of vulnerability and a lot of openness to come on and talk about something so sensitive as a health journey. And those willing to share and open up with the world are really the ones that are taking intermittent fasting to the next level. So thank you for being part of this village and spreading the seed of intermittent fasting. So I always start with the burning question of how and when did you discover clean intermittent fasting?
Gosh, it's such a long story, such a long journey. I've always been like in the dieting world, but I was always able to maintain, for the most part. Like I would get up like 10, maybe 15 pounds. And I always had all these tools in my toolbox to be able to quickly, reel it back in. I did Weight Watchers and Atkins, Jenny Craig, the cabbage soup diet, which is disgusting.
I think I did that too.
Yeah. So it all worked until it didn't. And then about in my 40s, I started to notice my metabolism was slowing down a bit. And I was able to just tweak my diet a little bit. I found out I was sensitive to all grains. And so I went on a grain-free diet, and that helped a lot. It helped with inflammation. It helped with energy, and it helped a little bit with weight until it didn't. Until about 2020. And we all know what happened in 2020. So the stress, I'm a preschool teacher. So the stress of the pandemic and being on lockdown and trying to do Zoom meetings with preschoolers.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
It was actually really fun, but it's not the way that I want to be with children. It's not the way I want to be with people, to be honest. But, we did the best that we could. I discovered Instacart and Uber Eats during that time, and just started, although I was still technically grain-free, I just started eating more, processed food, a lot more French fries, a lot more potatoes, and just started gaining weight. I didn't really realize it. I mean, I think I did, but you know how we are. I was wearing yoga pants during that time a lot, and I was wearing like maxi skirts and very comfortable clothes, and just kind of put it in the back of my mind. But we had an end of the year car parade. And so the kids would come by in their cars with their parents, and all the teachers, we had to wear masks and stuff. We would wave to everybody, have a great year. We'll see you in the fall. Somebody had taken pictures and posted the pictures on our school website. I saw them. I was horrified, quickly just closed my computer and pretended like it didn't happen. But then in 2021, I just was feeling terrible, and I had gone to the doctor, and he had run all of my blood work and said, you're fine, your numbers are normal. But I knew they weren't.
Yeah.
So I said, can you please send me my results? And I went through them with like a fine-tooth comb and discovered they were normal, but they were normal for a postmenopausal woman.
Wow.
And I didn't know I'd gone through menopause because I'd had an ablation in my 40s. And when you have an ablation, sorry, everybody, but it takes out the lining of your uterus. So you don't have like the typical cycle, but you still have the hormones.
Right.
So you don't know when you go through menopause. So I was having hot flashes and couldn't sleep, and all of that, but I didn't realize it was menopause. I mean, I should have, but I didn't. So I went through menopause during 2020. I had
Okay.
zero hormones, and also the pandemic happened, and I finally got on the scale when I had looked at the pictures back in June of 2020. I didn't weigh myself, but I did tweak my diet a little bit.
Mhm.
So I know I was much heavier then.
Mhm.
But in November of 2021, when I finally decided I'm going to dust off the scale
Mhm.
and get on it, I was horrified to see that I was almost 170,
Mhm.
pretty close. And I'm only 5'3".
Okay.
So that's a lot for my
Yeah.
small frame.
Mhm.
And I just was like, what am I going to do? I did a deep dive. I was following a local gynecologist in our area who is very holistically minded.
Mhm.
She went through her own journey. And so she was trying to help patients find out, what's going on with their bodies. And she has a podcast. Her name is Jennifer Rolands.
Okay.
And on November, gosh, I don't have the exact date, but in November of 2021, she aired an episode with Lori Lewis.
Ah.
And Lori shared her story and introduced me to intermittent fasting and Jen Stevens.
Oh,
And that day, I started fasting and
that's
haven't looked back.
wonderful. That is so
Yeah.
wonderful. And
Yeah.
I love the backstory, how you were actually introduced to it by a doctor, but a holistic minded doctor. I really like
Hmm.
that, because most people who come to fasting,
Yes.
it's like we just found out from a friend or from the internet or something like that. But this is a
Right.
doctor actually telling you, like, hey, like, go listen to this and point to
And
the
I'd heard about fasting. My husband was always, he's very healthy. He's always been very active, and he was a mountain biker about 10, 15 years ago. And he would never eat before he went mountain biking. And I always thought, that's not good for you. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You're going to pass out. And he explained to me like the benefits of fasting and how it increases your human growth hormone. And I didn't believe him. Sorry, Ellen. So
people
I
think
heard
that I'm
about it
crazy
through
when I say
him,
that.
right?
Yeah.
And then also, I work with a lot of families that are Muslim,
Okay.
and they practice fasting through the month of
Yeah.
Ramadan. So I
Uh-huh.
knew for like religious reasons, my husband also fasts for religious reasons,
Mhm.
but I didn't realize the health benefits until I heard that podcast with Lori Lewis, and her story just spoke to me. Like I sobbed. I just sobbed. I'm like, she gets me. Like we have a very, very similar story, as
Lori
I'm sure a
Lewis
lot of
is
women.
wonderful. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that you found her story specifically, because
Hmm.
I really think it can matter. She touched you in a way that was personal, and it helped you kind of
Yeah,
change your mindset around fasting. Love your shirt,
it
by
did.
the way. That's awesome.
Oh, thank
Love
you.
that shirt.
Thank you. Thank you.
I recall you posting that shirt in the group, and I'm going, "Where did you get that shirt? That is so cool."
Yes. So I got it on Amazon, and unfortunately, Jen doesn't get any money for it.
Yeah,
But I asked her first, and she
yeah.
said, I will take the free advertising any day.
Well, if
So
you
I'm
guys
hoping
don't,
she makes her own.
I do too.
Sorry.
I mean, she should. But if
Yeah.
listeners are wondering, she's wearing a Fast Feast Repeat shirt. It is awesome, and she got it on Amazon. And Jin doesn't get any money. It's not Jin's product, but it is
Right.
great to get the word out and to spread the love of intermittent fasting. So I love that shirt, and I love the story of how you found intermittent fasting. So you were at about 170-ish, and now where are you?
Close. Um, the lowest weight that I've seen, this was last week, was about 135-ish.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. And you've
Yeah.
been
I'm kind of
maintaining
think
for a while, huh?
yeah, I lost pretty quickly. I started with 18.6. I'm gonna be totally honest. I was really mad about not putting cream in my coffee. Like
It's
I was
okay.
furious about it. But then I did the deep dive on autophagy and insulin response. And I got Dr. Fung's book. I got all the books. And although his book is very sciencey, so I listened to it on Audible in like 10-15 minute increments and then had to like digest it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I really believe the science, like the science is there.
It is.
So
It is totally
I drink
there.
black coffee now. I love black coffee now. It's so weird.
Isn't it strange how our taste buds change?
Mm.
Because I feel like a lot of
Mhm.
people have a very, very hard time. That is their biggest hurdle, is getting past the black coffee.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest hurdle. I couldn't even imagine.
Mm.
I loved my milky, creamy, sweet coffee in the morning, and how was I going to live without it? But if you
Exactly.
really boil down, cream is protein, cream is fat,
Mhm.
cream will release ghrelin, which will release insulin, which will make you even hungrier. And really, at that
Exactly.
point, you're just on a low restricted calorie diet. Is cream that important to hold you back from having the most fat burning superpower you can possibly have? No,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. When I heard Jen say that, would you put cream in your coffee before you get blood work? That's when it really clicked for me because I'm like, of course not. Like, that's going to affect your blood work. Well, why does it affect your blood work? If it affects your blood work, it's affecting your body. Duh.
Such a great point. That is such a great
Hmm.
point she makes. It really is. And, I know a lot of people out there who say they're doing intermittent fasting, and I,
Hmm.
applaud them for trying something that's, to improve their health. But if you're putting cream in your
Right.
coffee in the morning and then not eating all day, you are really just on a very low calorie restriction, and it is
Yeah.
going to make you miserable.
It
So,
makes it makes you so hungry.
it
And
really,
that's what I realized because I never was a huge breakfast eater anyways. I would eat around like 10, maybe 11. But I would drink coffee with, I mean, mostly cream with a little coffee all
yeah.
morning. And I would be so jittery. And I always thought it was the coffee. I thought it was the caffeine that was making me like jittery and sweaty. But it's the cream because I can drink black coffee for hours now and feel great.
That's wonderful. And I mean, I always like to ask this question because you get different answers across the board. Did you, when you were losing weight and now, do you exercise? Do you think exercise is important, or do you think, or it's like walking? I just started out walking. For years I just walked.
Yeah, I used to exercise a lot. Like back in the 80s and 90s, I was like the aerobics queen. I had a
I love
step,
it.
I had
Yeah.
all the Jane Fonda, tapes. I'm older than you, so but
Yeah,
I
I
did
love it.
all the Jane Fonda. I did her tapes so much that the picture stopped working, but I could still do it because I could hear it and I knew the moves.
Oh my gosh.
So I did that. And then my husband's active, so we did some mountain biking. I've never been an athlete. I'm not very coordinated.
Me neither, lady.
So then in my 40s, I had a friend who was doing Pure Bar, and I started doing that. And I did that for maybe 7 years. I loved it. And I'm thinking about going back.
I do a bit of bar, and it is so wonderful.
Isn't it great? Just those little tiny movements that really build those muscles.
It's
So
crazy.
yeah, I haven't been doing a lot of exercising since I started fasting. I got a vibration plate.
Okay.
I do that almost every night. I do light weights. I follow a woman on YouTube. Her name is Shelly. I think her last name is Fuller. It's Fabulous 50s.
Okay.
And she has all of these workout, um, like she has an arm tape, she has legs, she has all these just really small, like you could do 5 minutes, you could do 10 minutes, you could do a half hour. So I'll do that sometimes standing on my vibration plate. I'll do the arm workout.
Okay.
I do walk. We have dogs, so we walk our dogs. Um, but I think I'm finally feeling like I've lost most of the weight that I want to lose, but I really do want to tone up
Yeah.
because, once you hit your 50s, you start losing that muscle.
Yeah.
And I really want to get my arms stronger and I just want to be stronger.
That I totally hear you on that. I mean,
Mm,
when you get to the goal you're at, you know, your weight loss goal, and
mm,
you're there and it's you have this confidence about you, and getting stronger was it's not just you. I think it's on the forefront of a lot of people's mind when you hit your weight
yeah.
loss goal, because you didn't have to bust your rear end in the gym lifting weights. And, you know, for anyone
Mm,
listening, lifting weights alone does not make you lose weight. Lifting
no.
weights you should do because it's going to build muscle. And like you said, you start to lose muscle mass past the age of 40, actually.
Yeah.
And so weightlifting, resistance training, movement in general is just
Mm,
super important for
right.
everyone's health journey. So I'm glad to hear you say that
Yeah.
you've got.
You're super inspiring. I love to see your posts after you've worked out. So
Oh,
I need to
thanks.
I need to get a workout friend because I like that community. I like somebody else who's motivating me. If I tell somebody I'm going to meet them at 6 in the morning,
You
then
still
I'm going
do
to
it.
go. But
Yeah.
I don't always do that to myself,
Yeah.
by
It's
myself.
good for
So,
accountability to have a partner.
mm,
Yeah, I can understand that. So, I mean, the workouts I do are virtual teaching, so you could go any time of day. That's the beauty of it. And
okay.
um, I I'm kind of like I call myself the lone wolf. I put my headphones on and I just don't, because I can't talk to people during the it's a very small room too. It's not
Right.
like a big open space. So you're like
Okay.
in this small room. But yeah, working out is something that I feel either if you do it when you start intermittent fasting, then you can't expect to just keep working out at the rate you were working out before straight out
Yeah.
the gate. You kind of have to
Yeah.
build it like a fasting muscle. You have to build your
Exactly.
fasting workout muscle.
Mhm.
And that's
And I really wanted to nail just like the clean fast in the beginning.
absolutely.
I really did. And I had a lot going on in my life at the time. And I just wanted to fast. And now I want to do more for my health.
I absolutely adore that, because it really is just like when you get to this weight, putting the muscle on, getting the
Mm,
muscle there, especially with fasting, because you're producing the human growth hormone. It
yeah.
comes on even like in your, I'm 42, but like I never could realize that could be in such great shape at 42. I
Isn't the body recomposition like, it blows my mind every day. Like,
It's crazy.
so I'm about 135, but I'm in a size way smaller than I was the last time I was 135.
Imagine that.
I
I mean, where could you find that? You know, and as the
Mhm,
years roll by, and you'll see
right.
like your body will continue to change as the
Yeah.
years go on, even though the weight will stay the same, probably. My
Mm.
weight really hasn't changed that much. A little here and there. Your weight goes up and down.
Do
But
you still weigh?
not really. No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, and that's actually I was going to talk to you about the scale, because you had
Okay.
posted not that long, like, should I give up the scale? What should I do with the scale at this point? This was a little few
Yeah.
months back. And so where did you land on that?
I'm still weighing. I do the happy scale. So I really like the average. And I like having the information, but I'm not going to lie, it does affect me.
Mhm.
If I'm down, then my day starts out great. If
Mm,
I'm up, I feel sad. And so I really want to get to the point where I put the scale away and
yeah,
just trust the process and the honesty pants.
yeah.
I think I'm getting
When the
close.
time is right. You'll know when the time is right.
Mhm.
I was
I feel
never
like so
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
cut you
you
off.
go, you go. It's
Okay.
okay.
So I hadn't weighed for so many years. When I was in my late 20s, actually teens into my 20s, I had an eating disorder.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
And my husband noticed it was happening. And he's the one that talked to me, and he helped me through it. And yeah, he's amazing. So I've always had an issue with the scale. And the last time I scaled before I got back on and discovered how much weight I had gained, I went to stand on the scale, and he had put a post-it note over the number part, and it said, "You are beautiful." And so
gosh.
so I stopped weighing myself, And I love that he did that. And it's not his fault at all. But I didn't know how much I weighed. So I had to have a starting point, you know?
Yeah.
So I took the little note off and I saved it.
That's a good memento to keep, and that is very, very sweet. And
It really is.
it's just one of those things that you hope to find in any relationship, any marriage, in a man,
Right.
that will love you at any size. It's
Right.
really about your health and your.
And he did also notice when I started to gain weight. And he was very gentle about how we talked about it. It was more like, you don't really seem like yourself. And I didn't feel like myself.
Right.
He's
Right.
like, I feel like there's something going on with your body.
Mhm.
That was his way of saying, I mean, and there was something going on with my body. It wasn't just about the weight. So
Of course not. Yeah, and he could
yeah.
see that, and that's really sweet that he could see that, and that you were struggling, and that he wanted to give you that extra confidence, because
Mm,
it's not just about the number.
it's
Everybody's
not.
very fixated on a number, and I
Yeah.
saw somebody post recently about how they're 5'3", and I'm 5'3", you're 5'3", but they're at
Mm,
140 and they just want to see 130s. And you know,
yeah.
at the end of the day, if we stop fixating on that number, it really will
Mm,
set you free, because the
yes.
number, like I said, the number stayed the same for me for
Mm,
3 years now. And my body has changed so much. I'm just not
mhm.
really focused on it anymore.
Right.
I just really don't want people, once they get to their goal, yeah, keep your honesty pants out. If you weigh every
Right.
day and that makes you feel good, then do that. Keep yourself accountable, whatever way you
Mm,
can. But to be so fixated on getting to 139 because it's in the 130s, I mean, listen, maybe your body is
yeah.
not going to level out there. We're all different. We're so
Yeah.
different. So,
Such a good point, because I hear when somebody says they're 5'3", and they're like, I'm 5'3" and I'm 110.
yeah.
Then I'm hard on myself because I'm like, the only time I was 110 was probably when I was 12.
Me too. Me
You
too.
know, I developed early. I'm a little bit busty. That's just how my body is, right? And
Okay.
I actually
All
love
boobs.
that about me. So I love that I should just put the scale away and just go by my honesty pants and how I'm feeling, most importantly.
Once you become
That's
a
my goal.
seasoned faster, which you are, you become
Hmm.
in tune with your body, and you could
Hmm.
tell when things, I mean, like, listen, you put your pants on, they're getting a little tight. It's time to rein
Yes.
things in now.
Yeah.
So if it's
Yeah.
determining how your day is going to go and how your emotions are going to be that day, then maybe it's time to
Mhm.
give it a little trial and put it to the side and see how it goes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you're right. I think you're right.
Something to try, something to think about.
Yeah.
So one thing I love to talk about is nutrition, because there is this preconceived notion, and I can't stand it, that you can do intermittent fasting and eat whatever you want in your
Eat
eating.
all the things.
Eat all the things. How do you feel about that?
No, I cannot eat all the things. Eating all the things got me to where I was at.
Yeah,
I had so much inflammation. I just felt lousy. I can't eat all the things.
me neither.
I can't eat grains. Grains really, really affect my body. And that's not true for everyone. That's what I love about fasting. And that's what I love about Jen
Yeah.
is she doesn't tell you what you need to eat. It's like you have to find out what works for your body.
Mm.
And I know what works for my body. I know what doesn't work for my body too. Not that I'm perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you say that when you got into intermittent fasting, did you change what you ate right away, or did you kind of let it evolve and your body tell you, like, hey, no, I don't like this anymore? Or how did that work for you?
um, a little bit of both. Like I already knew that I was eating takeout too much. We were having Uber Eats deliver. So I stopped getting like French fries.
Mhm.
And now, if I want to eat fries, I will, but I try to make sure they're cooked in a good oil. That I think that's a huge part of it. I think I was getting, fried food that was fried in really bad rancid oil that wasn't serving my body.
Yeah,
So, I try to stick with avocado oil or olive oil, coconut oil, like healthy oils.
sure.
But
Sure.
yeah, food choice is super important.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
especially at my age. I mean, maybe in my 20s, I got away with it, and my 30s, but it catches up to you if you don't figure out what works best for your own body.
It really does. And starting younger, being more conscious, when you're in your 20s and your 30s, your 40s aren't going to be so difficult, and your 50s aren't going to be so difficult when it comes to your metabolism slowing down and hormonal
Mm,
changes that happen at those ages.
yeah,
So, I
exactly.
mean, yeah, it's 100%. I mean, I tell everyone, I tell my clients all the time, it's 80% of what you're putting in your body and when, and the other 20% is like movement and lifestyle choices. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. It's
Yeah,
so important.
it is
And
so.
I just feel better when I eat the foods my body likes. And I want to feel good, you
When
know?
you're fasting and you are feasting, you want your feast to be window worthy because you just fasted
Yes.
for, X amount of hours. You want what you put in to
Mhm.
fuel you. So
Right.
when you close your window that day and you're in your next fast, that it's, the difference. If you eat crap the day before, you'll feel it the next day. So you
Exactly.
have this motivation to put in the best foods into your body.
Exactly. And
And
I feel great when I'm fasting. I feel so good. I have good energy. So I don't want to eat and ruin that good feeling.
oh gosh, no. I mean,
Yeah.
I totally understand that because you get like this almost euphoric feeling with energy you have. And I
Yes.
feel like I can just do, like, I don't know, like this morning I was like, what am I gonna do? I have this time. So I just found like 8 projects to do. And I'm like all over the place. I'm reorganizing, I'm doing this and that. And it really does like give me it frees up so much time. I'm like, I have a
Mhm.
lot of time to do things I didn't have before because I was really just thinking about food the whole day and what am I going to eat next. So I
Yes.
could focus on like just my family and what they're going to eat, and then I could, I of course I eat every day, but it's like, I'm simple, I'm easygoing, and I like what I like.
Right.
I'm set in my ways.
Yeah. Me too. I'm the
So
same.
let's discuss a little bit about like fasting schedules. I see a lot, and Lisa Glick and I just were talking about this. We see a lot, I'm sure you see the question in the group arise all the time. You see a picture of somebody's success, and then you'll see
Mhm.
a few people ask, what is your fasting schedule? What is your fasting schedule? And I
Right.
can't stress this enough. Everybody's different. And so what
Mhm.
works for you, what works for me isn't going to work for someone else. And that's usually my answer. But just because, it's information and everybody likes to collect information about anything when it comes to
Right.
weight loss, you're 5'3", you lost quite a bit of weight. You lost like what, 45-ish pounds, 40 pounds.
Something like that. Yeah.
Right. So here's my question to you. What was your fasting schedule when you were losing, and what does it look like now?
So it's really interesting. My fasting schedule and in the beginning was 16/8.
Mhm.
So I fasted for 16 hours for those who don't know and had an 8-hour eating window. I lost the majority of my weight doing that. I know most people don't. I did. I
Oh,
don't
did
know why, but I did. And I ate 2 meals, and I'm thinking maybe because I would eat, and I have an earlier window than most people too, especially when I'm working. When I'm working with my kids, they eat lunch, and I let them tell me when they're hungry. But it's typically between 10:30 and 11.
okay.
Soon as they start eating, I have to eat with them. I don't know why, but I if I don't, I get a little bit not crabby, but I just don't feel like myself.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and that's not fair to them.
yeah,
So I eat with them, and I actually feel better when I have an earlier window. So I'd open my window between 10:30 and 11, and I would have a snack, or maybe some people would consider it a small meal.
yeah.
And then I wouldn't eat again for another about 5 hours, and I wouldn't snack in between.
Okay.
But that's when I lost the majority of my weight. I would say I lost between 25 and 30 pounds doing that.
Wow.
And then from September of this year, 2022,
Mhm.
I've only lost about, actually, I shouldn't say only, I've lost about 12 or 13 pounds since then,
Okay.
which is kind of slow. And I had to tighten up my window a little bit, but I knew I was getting towards the end, and that's what happens
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
But so I tightened up my window a bit, and I do typically 19.5 now.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do 23.1. It really depends on how I feel.
I
And
love
I listen to my body, but I like fasting. I don't like extended fasts more than 24 hours because my stomach doesn't like that.
Yeah.
But I like up to 24 hours. I feel great.
Yeah. And so you kind of
Yeah.
just mix it up now between like a 19.5 and something
Hmm.
to that. So
Yeah.
that's outstanding that the 16.8 worked for you to get that first, 20-ish pounds off. And
Yeah.
you're right. There's people that come in and they read the book, or, they hear from somebody, like, somebody, it works for some people to lose the first. I mean, sometimes it works to
Yeah.
lose all of your weight, depends how much weight you have. But
Right.
um it, again, going back to the fact that we're all different, it's not,
Mhm.
the 16.8 doesn't work for everyone for loss, but it does work for some people. So
Yeah.
you had to tighten your window up to kind of get those last few pounds off.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I still feel like I have some tightening up to do, but that's just life. I want to live life. I had a friend stay with me for the last 3 days.
Okay.
And we went out to breakfast and we had lunch. And one night I don't usually eat pizza because of the grains,
Yeah.
but I ate pizza. Like, it's life. I mean, I
It-
got a little swollen, but
It'll go away.
it's just life,
Life is meant to be lived. And I feel like when you
Mhm.
come into this, people, I know I did, I had a little bit of a mourning period where I was like, oh, I can't eat all day. And I was kind of sad and like a little bit angry about it. But then once I started
Yeah.
to realize how much better I felt not eating all day, I was
Hmm.
like, oh, this is easily shelved. Like, I don't need to be eating all day. And
Yeah.
we really, none of us do.
And
Um,
the delay, don't deny book and phrase really resonated with me.
yeah.
And I just kept telling myself that, like, if I saw somebody eating and I was like, oh, that looks so good, I'm not denying myself. I'm just going to delay it. If I want it later, I'll have it. A lot of times I didn't want it later, but
Yeah.
that helped me with my mindset.
Mindset is so important. And
Hmm.
I think Jen really does lay it out really well with how to, alter your mindset and look at things a different way, like the
Hmm.
simple, book, Good Delay, Don't Deny. I mean, the title is there, it's
Right.
in there for
Yeah.
you. We're not in some kind of starvation mode. I know a lot of people, I don't know for you, but for
Yeah.
me, they throw the word starving around. And
Hmm.
I don't really like it, and I try not to get defensive,
Yeah.
but I really want people to understand we are fasting because we want to, and we
Yeah.
feast. And when we feast well.
Hmm.
It's intermittent
Right.
fasting. People get so scared of the word fasting.
I know.
And
I've told a few people who I could see would be triggered by the word fasting. I just tell them that I eat less often
yeah.
and I don't snack. And for some reason, they're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm like,
I
it
tell people
does.
at the gym I do TRE, and they'll look at me like, what's that? Like it's some crazy diet. They're ready to take notes. And I'm like, time restricted eating. And then I just move on.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna argue with anybody about it. And sometimes I feel like it just plants a seed. In fact, I had a friend who had made a comment to me, oh, you're still doing that diet where you're starving yourself. And I'm like, well, I don't feel like I'm starving, and I don't feel like it's a diet, but yeah, I'm still fasting. And I just left it at that. And then about 6 months later, she's like, can you tell me a little bit more? And I'm like, absolutely. And I
Yeah.
mean, I think I felt the same way when I did. Remember my husband?
Yeah.
I thought it was unhealthy.
I thought it was
I told,
crazy. I was
hmm
like, how could I go? I couldn't even think of going 14 hours with no food. What am
Well,
I?
we were told you have to eat every 4 hours to stoke your metabolism.
Yeah, well, it's
So,
crazy that they tell you that. And it's
yeah.
what's hilarious is they tell diabetics that too. And, I'm not trying to give out medical advice. I make that very clear.
Yes.
But, type 2 diabetes can be reversed, it can be prevented. And the fact that they're telling type 2 patients to eat 6 times a day, they're
Yes,
just making money at that. They're literally like, there's a way to get your insulin low enough to where you can get to the other
exactly.
side.
My sister is a type 1 diabetic, and she gave me permission to share this if I wanted
Okay,
to.
sure.
And she went to a new endocrinologist last week because she was not happy with her A1C numbers.
Mhm.
Type 1 diabetes is so hard.
It's very
It
hard. Yes,
breaks my heart.
it is.
But her doctor said if you want to get your A1C down, don't snack in between your meals. And
Hmm.
I said, Cassie, she's telling you to do intermittent fasting. She's like, I know. She was super excited.
Oh, well,
So
good.
it's
I hope she
catchy
starts.
ones. Yeah,
Good.
yeah. She's a really healthy eater, anyways. So
Good.
she's just doing a few little tweaks,
Yeah,
and she can't fast like. Well, I mean, we all fast differently, so
sure.
she can fast, but just
It's
however
different
it
for type
fits.
2 or type 1s, just if you're
Hmm.
listening and curious, if you have diabetes, always consult with your physician first.
Absolutely.
Find a functional medicine doctor that will work
Yeah.
with you, especially if
Hmm.
you have type 2, but type 1 is a whole different animal.
It
And I'm glad
is.
she found somebody who's willing to work with her. And no,
Right.
she's not going to be able to fast like we do in, long
Yes.
hours, but
Yeah.
she can greatly improve things. And I'm glad
She's
she,
already feeling better. This has only been, I think, a week or two, and she said that she can feel a difference.
oh, I love it.
So
It's really,
super
tell her
happy
thank
for
you for sharing that with us. And I'm
her. I will.
hopefully it will touch somebody and inspire somebody to maybe open their mind a little bit to something else,
Yeah.
if they're struggling with type 1.
Exactly.
So
And
thank
that's why I wanted to come on your podcast. It's
yeah.
public speaking is not my thing. I'm kind of shy, but I feel like especially women who are going through menopause are going to go through menopause. Like you don't have to suffer. Menopause doesn't have to be the beast that I had to slay. Like
I talk to
you
so
I'm
many.
excited for you because you have all of the tools that you need to
I
go through
do,
it.
yet I'm still
Mhm.
having I'm still in perimenopause. Wait, I got kicked in
Mm,
when I was actually, if I think about it now, I started perimenopause right around the time I started fasting. Um,
mm,
so I'm different from anyone else. I know people who don't ever have symptoms of perimenopause,
right.
but for me, it's just been a different journey.
Yeah,
Again, we're all different. So I've even as a
exactly.
seasoned faster, I've had to like kind of bring it in and go, wait
Hmm.
a second. On these very hormonal days, I need to adjust and work
Yeah,
around, and so that's what I have to do. And
right.
if you're a woman and you're still menstruating and you're listening and you're fasting and you're feeling like on the days that your hormones are raging, that you're extra hungry and you're struggling, there is a reason behind that. It's not just
I
in your head.
totally agree with that. And for some people, they need more protein. I mean, everyone's different, but
That's usually it.
yeah,
That's usually it. Or you need
yeah,
to extend your eating window that day to
exactly.
accommodate your body's needs.
Right.
And, you know, some people think you shouldn't fast on those days. I don't necessarily agree with that. I feel like you should just listen
Yeah,
to your
me
body
neither.
and,
Yeah.
maybe it's that day your fast is going to be shorter and your window is going to be longer. And then
Hmm.
the next day it's probably going to be the opposite. And you're just going to
Right.
start to find your rhythm and your wave. Um, so yeah, being a
Exactly.
female faster is a little bit different, I suppose, because our
Hmm.
hormones are different and we're changing
Yeah.
all the time.
Right. That's why I love the communities that we're in. Your community, Graham Curry's community, the Fasting Highway, Jen's community.
Yeah, it's
There's
amazing.
I feel like anytime I have something happening and I post, there's so much support, like
Yeah,
somebody who's been through it or somebody knows somebody who's been through it. And it's
we
just
really
nice to
do.
know.
I came into it new, just like you came into it new, and the amount of love and support and just overall just having cheerleaders on your side that you've never met in person, but they're
Right.
cheering you on and they
I
want to help
know.
you. It is
Yeah.
people have lost faith in this, humanity sometimes because there's a lot of, let's just be,
Yeah.
truthful, a lot of crappy things happening
And
in the world. But
yeah.
this is so positive.
Mhm.
We are so supportive of each other and we really do just care. We really just want everyone to be well.
Yeah. The one thing that I have to say is I had to unfollow any group that doesn't support clean fasting.
Amen,
That was
sister.
not serving me at all.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I have to only be in groups that
I
say
would,
you must clean fast or only talk about clean fasting anyways
yeah,
and be positive.
I couldn't agree with that more. And if you're in a bunch of fasting groups and they disagree with the clean fast, please run the other way. If you're not clean fasting, you're simply
Yeah,
just not fasting.
you're not.
You're just on a low calorie diet and you're going to be miserable,
Yep, I
and
agree.
I cannot stress that enough. It's very confusing too. So yes,
It is.
find some really inclusive, supportive, clean fasting
Mhm.
groups that we don't tolerate anybody trying to argue about the clean fast. We
No
stick,
bone broth, no butter in your coffee.
no, no, no. None of that. None of that.
In your
Black
eating window if you love it.
in your
But
window, sure, enjoy.
yes,
Okay,
exactly.
so one thing I love to talk about is non-scale victories, or we call them NSVs. My favorite. Oh, you got your list ready. I love it. It's my favorite thing about fasting, and as you all
Me
know,
too.
so let's talk about yours. And I see you have
Okay,
a list ready, so let's do
I
it.
do. I have on construction paper,
I love
preschool
this.
teacher. I have a whole list. So I had my fasting insulin done in May.
Oh, good
I
for you. Fast and
wish
insulin, so
I
important.
I wish I would have had it done before I started fasting, but I didn't know anything about it.
Nobody does.
So my fasting insulin in May of 2023 was a 7,
Okay.
and my endocrinologist says that's fabulous. I know that 5 or below is where I really want to be, but 7 is good. And who knows what it was at? I know it was way higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't wait to get it tested again. I think I'm going to get it tested in October to see.
That is excellent. That's
Yeah, I'm excited about that. All
amazing.
of my blood work is looking better. Um,
Good.
almost everything is great. My cholesterol has always been a little bit high. I'm not super worried about it. I did have the cholesterol particle test
Okay.
just
Yeah.
to see what type of, it was Cynthia Thurlow who recommended doing that
Yeah.
if you're concerned, and it came back 0 risk, 0.
Awesome. That is awesome.
So I'm not worried about my cholesterol at all, but I will say it's gone down significantly since I started fasting.
Wonderful. And
And my
cholesterol is very
endocrine,
misunderstood.
I
Doctors
agree.
eat it right. So if you listen to
Mm.
the episode I just released with Lisa Glick, we get into how to properly calculate your cholesterol. So
I
you know,
just listened.
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
already informed. What else has
Yeah.
happened?
I'm sorry.
What else has happened for you off the scale?
Oh, okay. So that was blood tests. I also have Hashimoto's. I should have talked about that earlier.
Okay.
But my Hashimoto's antibody numbers is almost 0 since I started fasting.
Oh my
0.
gosh.
And my doctor thinks it's also because I don't eat grain. There's a lot of research that shows that the gluten molecule
Molecule. Yeah.
is
Protein.
very similar
Yeah.
to what your thyroid thinks is an antibody. So it attacks it. I don't think that I'm giving you the right information exactly. But anyways, she thinks because I don't eat grains that that's a big reason why my numbers are going down and because of fasting.
I think it's
So
probably both. My best friend has Hashimoto's and she went
uh,
free when she found out. She works with a neuropath, a functional medicine doctor who actually
right.
prescribed her intermittent fasting. And
Makes me
she's,
so happy.
well, yeah, it made me real happy too. And so she's been on her wellness journey, and
Right.
with the no gluten and with the fasting, she is
Hmm.
really, it's a slow process for her. And anyone with the Hashimoto's,
Right.
listen up, your journey is not going to be
Yeah,
a normal journey. It just
exactly.
won't. It's going to be very
Yeah.
different. And so for her, the weight loss has been very slow, but her
Mhm.
wellness is getting so much better. So that's,
That's
yeah, it's
so
awesome. I'm so
exciting.
glad to hear that yours is too.
Yes, I'm going to get it retested when I get my insulin done just to see if it's gone
Yeah.
down even more. But I
Yeah.
feel good. So I
Awesome.
know that I know it's working. I had skin tags, like embarrassing. But like once I hit 40, I'm like, what are all these skin tags? What is happening?
Some weird
They,
shit happens after you turn 40, doesn't it?
right? It's so weird. They've disappeared. They're just gone.
I hear this
Totally
all the
gone.
time about skin tags. They just fell
Oh,
off.
it's so weird. I've always had this mole on my neck, and it's like gone down. It's like half the size it used to be.
That's crazy.
And I just know it's from the
I
fasting.
mean, what else could it be from?
Hmm. My sleep is way better.
Okay.
Way better. If
What a
I
win.
get, before I would sleep like 4, maybe 5 hours a night,
Yeah.
I sleep 6 to 8 hours every
Ooh,
night. I slept 8 hours last night and I woke up like, what just happened?
isn't that crazy when you sleep 8 hours?
Insane.
Woo, lovely.
My energy is through the roof. Like
Yeah.
my husband said, you are the Energizer Bunny. You make me feel guilty when I come home from work because I'm just like all over the place. So the energy is great. I pulled out my summer clothes for the first time in a few years, and everything either fits perfect or is too big.
Oh my
So,
gosh. That is so
and I can't even tell you, to be able to go into my closet and put something on and feel okay with it is like such
frustrating.
an amazing non-skill victory. And I've also donated like 4 different times clothes that just don't fit anymore. And I'm not going to keep them. I'm
Wow.
not.
Get
I'm
rid of
done
them.
doing that. I'm done.
Yep.
My confidence is going up. Doing podcasts is really helping.
Yes.
My hair is getting thicker. My nails are getting stronger. I don't have to wear my reading glasses as much. When I hit 40, I asked my husband, why are all the flyers in the mail blurry? Why do they print blurry flyers? And he's like,
Oh.
babe, you need to get your eyes checked. So I've been wearing readers since
Yeah.
I was in my 40s, and I don't have to use them as much now. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh
It's
my
amazing.
gosh. Crazy.
I went to the chiropractor and I went to the dermatologist a few weeks ago, and both of them were like, what have you been doing? The chiropractor said that she's also a faster and she knew about Jen and she supported it 100%. She said because of life, she kind of had fallen off the fasting, but she said I inspired her. She's going
I
to
love
start
it.
again. Yeah, it was amazing. And the dermatologist said my skin's looking really good.
Your
So,
skin looks wonderful. It does.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You got like a dewy glow, like it's just like glowing, you know?
Oh, thank
Looks so
you.
good.
I'm probably a little flushed right now because that happens when I'm,
Yeah, but no, I
yeah.
can tell it's just like and it's a lot of intermittent fasters. Like you have like kind of a glow, uh,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, your skin gets great. I don't really know that many people that are seasoned intermittent fasters that have terrible skin. I mean, do you?
No, everybody looks good. Like their skin just looks
Right.
soft and
Crazy,
glowy,
right?
and their eyes look sparkly.
It does, right?
It's a fountain of
Oh
youth.
my gosh.
Yeah.
So, okay, you have some amazing off the scale victories. And I, like I said, it's my favorite part of fasting. I love to share about it. So thank you for sharing yours with all of our
Sure.
listeners around the world. So I'm going to go back real quick and talk about community. And
Okay.
we actually touched on this a few minutes ago, but let's dive a little deeper. How important do you feel like for sustainability of this lifestyle that community is?
I feel like it's so important. I don't have a lot of people in my everyday life that fast. Um, my boss does a little bit. I can talk to people about it, but I don't want to be that annoying friend, you know? If
Yeah,
somebody wants to talk about it, I'll talk about it all day.
sure.
But like my really good friends are not fasters yet.
Yeah.
Um,
You're like, yet.
some of them are interested.
Right.
So having the community, the Facebook communities, Jen's community, so important. Like
It's
just to
really,
have somebody that I can bounce ideas off of that feel the same way. In fact, in Jen's community, I reached out just to see if there was anyone in my area that fasts,
mhm.
that's in her community, and there was 3 other ladies, and we met up about a month ago, and we
Hey,
just met for coffee, and it was so fun. It was so fun to see them face to
that is
face.
so sweet. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it was really fun. And in fact, there was a loft, the store, the loft
Yeah.
was right next door to the coffee shop. And Jen had just suggested the week before that I try loft jeans.
Hmm.
And so after we were done meeting up, a couple of us went shopping too. So
I love that. Coffee and
yeah.
shopping with some fasting
Hmm.
friends. What's better? I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, if you find some friends in your community, that's a great way to go about doing it. Find some
Yeah.
like-minded friends. If not, find a supportive clean fasting group on social
Right.
media. I know Jen has a private group now. Graham has a private group. If you're not comfortable with Facebook, that's completely understandable, but just find what works for you,
Right.
because you're right. Having that support, having those people cheer you on and give you ideas, tips, tricks, it is invaluable. It's
I
invaluable.
agree.
It,
I
it,
wouldn't be where I'm at without all of you guys and your support. I really, truly feel that.
well,
So,
thank you. And the same goes for me, for everybody that came before me. I wouldn't be here
right.
without them, like
Yeah.
Graham Curry and Jen Stevens and
Hmm.
Lori Lewis. I'm probably forgetting a ton of people, but at the same time, it's like I wouldn't be sitting here doing
Yeah.
what I'm doing if it wasn't for all these people. I wouldn't have had success.
Yeah. I started my own private Facebook group too.
For you.
And I think there's about 35 people in it right now. It's very small, it's not very active, but it's people who want to be there. So I'm able to just, share. I share so much. I share the podcast,
Oh,
books. It's
yeah.
just a safe place because I know my other friends on Facebook don't want to hear about fasting every single day.
That's kind of how I started my fasting group, but be careful. It went crazy, and now there's lots of people in
Did
there.
it?
But
Okay.
you're in addition to a preschool teacher, you're also a life coach.
Yeah, I went through life coach training about 9 years ago,
Okay.
and I haven't done it as much as I did when I first went through the training. Just life got busy, but I did love it. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Okay,
It was really
wonderful.
fun.
Well, if you have some contact information you'd like to share with the listeners, if anyone's interested
Okay.
in life coaching, I will definitely put that in the show notes if you wish.
Thank you.
Of
Sweet.
course. And I will also, if you want to send me the link to your fasting group,
Okay.
put that in the show notes too. So just let me know
Okay.
what those things are, and anyone listening can go in and just click and join your fasting group, or maybe hit you up for some life coaching
Okay.
skills. So
Thank you. I appreciate
yeah,
that.
just check the show notes always, always, always. So the last question I have, and I always end with this question: if there was somebody out there that you don't know this person, and they're unwell, overweight, miserable, they've heard of intermittent fasting, but they're skeptical, what would you tell them to give them a push in the right direction?
I would just say if you're sleeping at night, you're already fasting. So if you want to extend the fast 1 or 2 hours before you go to sleep, 1 or 2 hours after you wake up, see how you feel.
I
See
love
how
it.
you feel. And start with the clean fast always
Yeah.
and see how you feel.
Yeah.
And then they're going to feel great. And then you can slowly extend it, or you can keep it right there.
Yeah.
But the benefits, you will see the benefits so fast.
I love it.
I could feel it within
You're already
days.
fasting when you're sleeping, people. You already are fasting when you are sleeping.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you already have a circadian rhythm. And I love that.
Hmm.
That's a great piece of
Yeah.
advice for somebody who
Yeah.
might be unsure and skeptical, because
Yes.
you
Yeah.
just got to sleep, wake up, and maybe extend your
Yeah.
breakfast for an hour. Did that go well? Great. The next day, extend it for another 30 minutes and go from there.
Exactly. And I would also say, I wish I would have done this and I didn't. Take
Yeah.
pictures.
Oh my
Take
gosh.
pictures.
Yeah.
There's so few pictures of me when I was at my highest because I don't even know how much I weighed. Those were pictures that other people had taken.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah.
would have never posted them, but I'm glad they did. I'm glad they did. You know, that's
I can't agree more.
yeah,
Take the pictures, just take them. I know it's uncomfortable.
yeah.
It's not what you want to
Mhm.
do when you're overweight,
It
but
helps so much though to put the side by side pictures, like if the scale isn't exactly where you want it to be, but to look at the pictures, there's no denying there's a difference.
pictures
There's
don't
no
lie.
denying that it's
Yeah.
not working, that it's working.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Take the damn
Yeah.
pictures, people. Don't be afraid. Just
Mhm.
take them, put them, hide them somewhere on a hard drive in a cloud. I don't care. Just
Yeah.
take them and put them away, because in a year, I always tell people, give yourself a year. Give yourself a year. In
Yeah.
a year, you will want to see those pictures.
And you're going to want to share them with people. Like there's
You're gonna wanna-
pictures of me that I'm embarrassed to look at, but I'm not anymore because I'm like, I was having hormone issues. And if I could help somebody, it's like, this is what was happening with my body and look at how much it's changed. Not like I look great, but look at how much stronger I am, how much healthier I'm feeling, you know?
Proof is in the pudding. It really
Yeah.
is. And I'm so
True.
happy for you. And I'm so
Thank
thankful that
you.
you took the time out of your day and your busy life to come on and share your
Thank you.
story. So thanks for coming on. I really appreciate
Thank
you
you.
being so vulnerable. Not
Thank
everybody
you.
can do that.
Thank you for having a podcast where people can share and help each other. So
Oh, it's
appreciate
just what I live for. So I'm happy to do it. And everybody check the show notes. Thanks again for being with me.